In the name of God, who made gas a renewable resource, which is generated by the earth constantly, and that all of the precious materials of the world are come from renewable resources, that this world can regenerate everything it has constantly, and it's not a limited supply. It is made by the heat and pressure and the chemical compositions of the ground. This is one of the most important trade routes. And here in the center of this very important trade route, there has been a lot of destabilization between of the economy. And the economy has been destabilized here by, in every case, having the government go to war on his people. And this is how every economy has been destabilized in this area. This is the most important trade route in the world. It is a water route from Istanbul that allows everything from the Black Sea and north of it to come through Istanbul, through the White Sea, which is the Mediterranean Sea, and into the Red Sea. This is the most important trade route in the world, and it is basically the heart of the world trade route. And if you don't know, this is why Hitler made the swastika. It is this here. This is the swastika. So this is his ultimate goal. But they were not successful in World War I with their ability to secure the gas out of the shallow, warm waters of the Persian Gulf, which is the Arabian Sea. So they needed to be able to get the gas from these shallow waters. And not only this, so Hitler, his idea was that first they needed to conquer Europe. They needed to conquer the European economy, or they were not going to be able to leverage enough power in order to push southward into the Middle East and to help. And also this was actually a secret war of dictators. World War II was secretly the war of dictators. It was when the Chinese dictator, the Russian dictator, and the European dictators all decided to genocide all of their people. So the reason why this is the most important trade route in the world, from the Black Sea to the White Sea to the Red Sea, is because everything here in North America and South America, and mind you, this area is heavily populated here in North America on the East Coast as opposed to the West Coast. It's more heavily populated. Everything from North and South America travels eastwards through the White Sea, through the Red Sea, and over to China. But what it doesn't do is the trade does not go from North and South America across the Pacific, because it's so big, and then you would have to travel all of this way, and who would you be giving it to? Just the shore of China, where they don't need it, and in these areas here. So it's not economical. You will not get a strong, powerful economy traveling this way. That is why this traveling this way has focalized world trade through the White Sea and the Red Sea, and all of this north area is focalized through the Black Sea. Why? Because there are three rivers. Three rivers focus Europe south into that Black Sea, and making all of Russia and Europe beholden to the Black Sea gateway in order to connect with the rest of the world trade. So that's how you get power in trade. This is how you leverage power in trade in economies. I'm going to discuss something very important. This is, I have heard the news in Syria, Idlib city, around Idlib city, of the bus accident where the school bus lost their brakes and they started to roll down the side of a mountain, and they actually started turning. So there was seven children and people killed in this accident. This happened yesterday. So in addition to this news about Idlib in Syria, is that there are protests occurring now, and the protests are occurring in these small cities south of Syria, and perhaps the protests are going to spread, and there are lots of small cities and towns around here who are more independent and who live more freely from the security zone of Idlib. So they live outside of the security zone of Idlib, and so they have more freedom. So it is very essential to understand how the power architecture is set up here. And in order to understand that, I'm going to tell you this information. This city of Idlib is in the free territories of northern Syria, where everyone who ran from the dictator, which is 7 million, are outside of the country. They ran from the dictator. That's half the country. There's 3 million here in Idlib. They ran from the dictator, but they are now under the control of Jolani. He is a descendant of the Iraqi revolution, from the 2003 Iraq revolution after Saddam Hussein. So that is who is in power here. They have been pushed out of Iraq and clear across Syria. He's been pushed away, all the way out to the shoreline. And so the most important thing to understand about the power structure in Idlib is that there is a trade of phosphate heavily out of Syria. Phosphate is has nuclear material in it. It has nuclear uranium in it. And in mining phosphate, you take big scoops of rock and you find an abundance of many different types of minerals and chemicals. And then you process them and separate them and sell them. And this is a trade. It generates billions of dollars. And because of the control, the international control over things like nuclear uranium and all the other chemicals that you might want to sell on the market, because of this, it is impossible that there would be any of that here in Idlib unless that government knows about it. And it's a salvation government. It's a revolutionary government. They took power out of a revolution of scattered people, and they are doing a phosphate trade here. And we don't even have access to the borders. We don't have our rights, and we also don't have a safe airspace, and we don't have the rights for an airport. So wherever they got the right for selling nuclear uranium, I just want to see the money. Bring it back. And the mines are here. Here's one mine. This is just, if you can't see very clearly, this is tremendously deep. This is very deep. Just maybe 500 meters. I mean, it's just really just unfathomably, yeah, like hundreds of meters down, 300 meters down. So in order to be able to extract that, you need machines that are as big as houses. The machines need to be made from parts that are made in big factories with big equipment. So this is, you cannot buy the machines needed for this in Syria. You cannot make the machines needed for this in Syria. And you certainly cannot sell these things and make any money without help from outside Syria. And that's not the only mine. They are scattered all throughout here. There's a separate video on my channel showing you about 15 different mines, and they are focalized to the area north of Idlib and north of Aleppo. So this area here, and you can see it, some of them by satellite, because you think, oh, is this a city? No, it's not actually a city. Some of them are cities, and some of them are not cities. They are mines. So the essential thing to understand about with this power base, this, Nohman, please. Essential thing to understand about the power base is that we are working with the forces that are beyond the power of just a local government, and they're beyond the interests of a local government. So that means that there's someone outside Syria who's bigger and stronger, and they're interested in this. This is their thing. They want this. So we can't just start a little ground competition or a fight here. We can't just confront the local government, because we're not dealing with the local government here. Okay, so it's, as I said, it's not Jolani that we are fighting. So there are protests breaking out around these areas now. The Salvation government cannot care and will not care about us, never. And they will not be able to hear us. Jolani has a project, which is to remove anyone who can lead any kind of talk in this, about this, and to stop anybody from thinking too much about it, because they only have a little more time to be able to keep our mouth closed before they're going to be free of having to ever care about anything that we ever needed or ever cared, or never ever care or think about us. Okay, they think that they're never ever going to have to ever worry about us, never, because in a little bit of time they just need us to shut up a little bit longer. So and we know why. So the protests here, these small cities, will never be enough to be able to leverage what we need out of Jolani, which, what do we need from them? Open the jail and open the border. They cannot open the border and they cannot open the jails, therefore, because it's necessary to oppress the people's economy and to continue to leverage that money, and they are not going to give us any of it. Now, if you want to make a protest, you're going to need 100,000 people. When the protest happened in Idlib in Egypt, against Mohammed Morsi, there was 1 million people, and it was a coordinated thing to get 1 million people onto the streets in Cairo. That's where they did the protest, was actually in Cairo. And this is possible because Cairo is a city of 15 million people, and it is has his left hand is a city of another 10 million people. So within a couple of kilometers, there are 25 million people there. And there is nowhere on earth that's this big except the cities in China. So they were able to take down Mohammed Morsi with 1 million people in a protest because Sisi was already ready and planning for this. And he trolleyed up with his tanks and flag and grabbed Mohammed Morsi. And who is Sisi? Well, he was the general of the whole armed forces. So that's what it took. That's who was going to win you a protest. So we need 1 million people. Where is 1 million people in this area? Okay, well, so we don't have 1 million people. We can take 100,000. Where are you going to get 100,000 people into a protest into Syria? Only in Idlib. And how are you going to get 100,000 people protesting against Jolani and they are not in Idlib? Are we all going to jump in the car and drive? Not everyone can take time off of work to drive in the car all of this way. So it's not going to happen. It will be 100,000 people from inside the city of Idlib. And how are you going to get 100,000 people? Well, to start, there are more women and children than there are of anything. And I heard that if the women and children come out to protest, no one is allowed to touch them. No one is allowed to hurt them. So you have your answer. 100,000 women will come out onto the streets to Jolani and protest. And until you see that day, we will not win these protests, and we will lose all of our men, because as we have heard from all of the historical accounts, from the Polish, from the Germans, when Hitler came, they will take the men first. And they will also tell you first that we're going to just do something easy and nice, like maybe a little work camp for the summertime. And then it will get harder and harder. And as we know from the genocides in Asia, they take the men first. So they're always going to take the men first until the women have nothing left to defend themselves. And why you know that the women have done a big wrong. It was wrong. You will speak and you will protest, or you will die, because they are not going to save the women either. They're not going to save the women, and they're not going to save the children, because they did not in Cambodia, and they didn't in China, and they didn't anywhere. Or in Vietnam on the Trail of Tears. They won't save anybody. So it will be a protest against Jolani and his Salvation government from treating the people badly like this. You can steal the uranium, but you will not steal our husbands and our fathers. So that's all we asked. We asked release the people from the jail. That's all we're asking for. We did not say to Jolani, open the borders, because we know that he is not the one. So we want the people from the jails. They are protesting on the streets. More men will be scooped up by Jolani's security forces out of all of these small cities, because they are indefensible. You are indefensible. They will scoop you up. They will put you in the truck. They will haul you back to Idlib. You will be sitting in the jail, and no one's going to save you. The women of Idlib who are sitting in the camps need to come out and stop this problem. Allahu Akbar.